I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. The time is always right to do what is right. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. Forgiveness is not an occasional act, it is a constant attitude. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Nothing in the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. Freedom is never given voluntarily by the oppressor, it must be demanded by the oppressed. If I cannot do great things, I can do small things in a great way. Violence is immoral, because it thrives on hatred rather than love. I must confess, my friends, the road ahead will not always be smooth. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people. The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. We are not makers of history. We are made by history. We must learn to live together as brothers, or perish together as fools. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands, in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands, at times of challenge and controversy. Human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. Every step toward the goal of justice requires sacrifice, suffering, and struggle, the tireless exertions and passionate concern of dedicated individuals. Our scientific power has outrun our spiritual power. We have guided missiles and misguided men. A genuine leader is not a searcher for consensus, but a molder of consensus. Whatever your life's work is, do it well. A man should do his job so well that the living, the dead, and the unborn could do it no better. We may have all come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now. He who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps to perpetrate it. He who accepts evil without protesting against it is really cooperating with it. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality. This is why right, temporarily defeated, is stronger than evil triumphant. Man must evolve for all human conflict a method which rejects revenge, aggression, and retaliation. The foundation of such a method is love. Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. An individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity. We must build dikes of courage to hold back the flood of fear. Capitalism does not permit an even flow of economic resources. With this system, a small privileged few are rich beyond conscience, and almost all others are doomed to be poor at some level. That's the way the system works. And since we know that the system will not change the rules, we are going to have to change the system. Everything that we see is a shadow cast by that which we do not see. There can be no deep disappointment where there is not deep love. A man dies when he refuses to stand up for that which is right. A man dies when he refuses to stand up for justice. A man dies when he refuses to take a stand for that which is true. All labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance, and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence. I am not interested in power for power's sake, but I'm interested in power that is moral, that is right, and that is good. Every man must decide whether he will walk in the light of creative altruism, or in the darkness of destructive selfishness. We must develop and maintain the capacity to forgive. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power to love. There is some good in the worst of us, and some evil in the best of us. When we discover this, we are less prone to hate our enemies. Cowardice asks the question, is it safe? Expediency asks the question, is it politic? Vanity asks the question, is it popular? But conscience asks the question, is it right? And there comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe, nor politic, nor popular, but one must take it because it is right. The quality, not the longevity, of one's life is what is important. I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless midnight of racism and war, that the bright daybreak of peace and brotherhood can never become a reality. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves, and the sons of former slave owners, will be able to sit together, at the table of brotherhood. Whatever affects one directly, affects all indirectly. I can never be what I ought to be, until you are what you ought to be. This is the interrelated structure of reality. If we are to go forward, we must go back and rediscover those precious values, that all reality hinges on moral foundations, and that all reality has spiritual control. Rarely do we find men who willingly engage in hard, solid thinking. There is an almost universal quest for easy answers and half-baked solutions. Nothing pains some people more than having to think. Never succumb to the temptation of bitterness. It is not enough to say, we must not wage war. It is necessary to love peace and sacrifice for it.